Hey everybody, this is Dave from the Ridge Church, and we just had an awesome opportunity about a month ago to go to Mexico. We went down to the state of Quintana Roo, and we were able to pair up with the McDonald family down there and be able to help share in their ministry and be able to push out the gospel into the areas around us. It was really cool because we were able to take our whole family, from the youngest to the oldest, down with a main goal of children's ministry, construction work, some humanitarian aid, and just being able to fill in wherever the Lord opens doors. So on day one, we flew into the airport, we got in late, and we ended up going straight to the mission house, set up our beds, and ate supper and went to bed. We were exhausted. When we woke up in the morning, our feet hit the ground and we took off running. The first thing we did, we had a few minutes to go down to the church and practice for the children's ministries that were coming up throughout the next couple of days. So after we got done with the ministry practice at the church, we've experienced a lot of flooding in the years past, and no different this year. It was flooding, and again, backing up into the mission house. So a group of us went to the Home Depot, and we picked up some tools and some equipment and some pipes so we could put in some drains, and we're able to mitigate some of that flooding. It was a pretty big project, and we had to work on it over a couple of days, but everybody got involved, and it was just great to see all of that come together. It was actually Charlotte's birthday, so we took a few minute break and we went inside and celebrated her birthday with some ice cream cake and some singing, and we proceeded right back outside to finish work. So the next morning we got up and we went out to a store similar to like a small Sam's Club, and we bought almost $1,000 worth of groceries. When we came back, we loaded all into the mission house, and while some of the guys were finishing up some of the drain work, we started putting together bags for the humanitarian aid in one of the nearby villages. That evening, we went to a church that we went to last year. It's Pastor Francisco's church, and we were able to introduce my family to his family. We did some children's ministry. There was singing, there was dancing, puppets and crafts was kind of the recipe for what our ministry looked like while we were there. It was a great opportunity for my kids to step up and step into leadership roles and do the things that the Lord's called us to do. At the end of the program, we were able to hand out those bags, almost 40 bags for families in need. And it was just a great opportunity to be able to see my kids involved actively in pursuing the Great Commission. The next day we woke up, we had a little break in the rain, so we cleaned and prepared the patio for painting, and wouldn't you know it, as soon as we got the paint on there and it started to dry and the rains came back. So most of the paint stuck, but we had a mess on our hands. They were calling for extra bad rains that day, so we decided before it got too crazy that they would give us a tour of what the locals call the other face of Cancun. So we took a tour of the area, and were able to witness firsthand the conditions that people live in, the poverty, the needs, and just find places that we were able to possibly plug ourselves in the future and help spread the gospel. So the next morning, again, we were still in the same storm, real bad rains, so we ended up taking a few minutes to see Cancun. After we took that tour, we kind of took the long way out to another area of town where we were able to meet with a small church plant that meets in a very simple lean-to outside of this family's house. But it was a good opportunity for the kids to get out and interact with some of the locals and just kind of see what it actually looks like being involved in that kind of ministry. The next morning we went out, this was day 5, we went out to a church plant in the area that was going to have a children's fair similar to a block party that evening. The girls went inside and started cleaning up. The guys went out back and started preparing the ground for the work of the day. They'd brought in about 4 or 5 dump truck loads of rock, and it was our job to hand shovel it and spread it with wheelbarrows throughout the area. Again, everybody was involved. Everybody worked great together, even the girls. We had a good team from the church that was able to come out and assist us in this, and we made fairly short work of a pretty big job. So as usual, when the work was winding down, the kids always found something to entertain themselves, and it seemed like a lot of times they were drawn naturally to the wild fruits and stuff in the area, which was kind of fun to watch. So after we got done with the work, we ended up going back to the mission house. We got cleaned up. We came right back out and began canvassing the neighborhoods. We loaded the little kids in the back of the trucks, and the rest of us just walked. We had a loudspeaker just blasting the invitation on repeat, and there were people sticking their heads in people's windows and inviting them out. There were people joining us in the streets, following us down, coming to the church there. We got back to the church, we finished setting stuff up, and the festivities began. Day 5 was by far the most physically exhausting day that we had down there. After all the construction, we put on the children's ministry to a great group of kids. Just the energy was crazy. It was turned up to 11 the whole time. Again, my kids were able to teach using translators, be involved in the puppet ministry, be involved in the arts and the crafts. And then, like I said, we had a fair afterwards where the kids played games, and they were able to win prizes with all these games. And each of my kids were able to take a station and help out there. And the little ones that were too little to do that ran around helping to give out tickets and prizes to the other kids in the area. As usual, there's always good food and lots of festivities. We really enjoyed this opportunity and being able to connect with this church. That was on Saturday. So Sunday, we woke up and got ready and went to church. I had an opportunity to preach, and some of the kids were able to serve, taking up the offering and a couple other things. After church, we came back, prepared for our next ministry. We packed over 300 bags of popcorn for the kids. The kids were able to take some time to play some games and just relax and connect. It was cool to see, as we went through the week, the English speakers teaching the Spanish speakers and the Spanish speakers teaching the English speakers. Before we knew it, it was time to head to the airport and pick up the next team that was coming in. They were coming in from Baker Baptist Church in Georgia. We got out the door. Traffic was a little lighter than we expected. We were able to stop for a few minutes at a local park and check out some of the views that we were at earlier, and the weather was terrible. We met up with the team from Baker. We brought them back. They had supper, they settled in, and the next morning we were able to start teaching them the dance moves and the songs and just how the children's ministries ran. After we were done with the training portion, we started packing some goodie bags for these kids. So we got our popcorn, we got our bags, we got our supplies, and we headed out to the Mayan zone. We did a little bit of canvassing in the area and got back to the church, helped set things up. It was a hot, humid, muggy day, but everybody was in good spirits. We had a great time just fellowshipping with the people from that church. Before we knew it, it was time to start. We'd gathered the kids in, and the Baker team joined us in doing the dances and doing the puppets, and had a Bible lesson, and then we did some crafts. Everybody was hot, everybody was exhausted, but we were having a great time serving the Lord. But this is a great opportunity to close out our time there in Mexico and to close out our time with the McDonald's for this year. We thank you guys for partnering with us and allowing us to be involved in this and to be able to go and share the gospel of the Lord to this area that's in just such dire need. We thank you so much for that, and we look forward to going back down there soon.